In the summer of 2022, a woman named Ruth, 74 years old, outside Shipshewana, Indiana, pulled 340 pounds of tomatoes from a garden the size of a parking space. No drip system, no hose, no water bill spike. Impressed, she filled 4 clay pots buried in the dirt and walked away. She did that once a week for the entire season. For years, I watered the way everyone told me to. Drip lines, soaker hoses, timers, pressure regulators. Every spring I added something new because every summer something still looked wrong. Frustrated, plants stressed in August, soil cracking by noon. I thought the problem was drought. It wasn't. The water I was putting into the ground wasn't reaching the roots. Half of it was evaporating before it got 6 inches down. And the system I kept upgrading, the one drip irrigation companies have been selling since 1959, was designed to replace something that already worked for 4,000 years. Reflective. Something that cost $12 and outlasts everything I ever bought. There's a reason the Bible describes people carrying clay jars everywhere they went, to fields, to wells, to neighbors. There's a reason those same jars show up in the oldest agricultural text ever written. And there's a reason you've never heard this called an irrigation method. By the end of this, you'll know all three. July morning in Elkhart County, Indiana. A 67-year-old Mennonite grower named Daniel is kneeling beside a tomato bed, pressing 2 fingers into the soil 6 inches from a buried clay pot. The soil is cool. It's been 96 degrees for 4 days. His hose hasn't moved since Monday. He nods once, stands up, and moves to the next bed. That's not faith. That's physics. In Judges 7, Gideon gave each of his 300 men a clay jar. The jar was the most trusted vessel in the ancient world, used for water, oil, grain, and wine. It wasn't decoration, it was infrastructure. The same unglazed terracotta that held water in biblical times holds water in Daniel's beds today. The porous walls haven't changed. The principle hasn't changed. Call this the living pressure system. When the soil around a buried clay pot gets dry, it pulls. The tension created by dry soil draws water through the microscopic pores of the unglazed clay, not because you pushed it, but because the soil demanded it. When rain falls and the soil is already wet, the pull stops. The water stays in the jar until the soil needs it again. The plant controls its own water supply. Think of it like a gas pedal connected directly to the roots. When the plant needs more, the system accelerates. When the plant has enough, it idles. No timer, no setting, no guesswork. What breaks this system is surface irrigation. Sprinklers, soaker hoses, drip lines placed above the soil. They all wet the surface and rely on gravity and soil structure to pull water down. The University of Arizona Extension found that up to 50% of irrigation water is lost to evaporation before it reaches root depth. That water never arrived. You paid for it. It evaporated. Pick up a handful of soil from your garden right now. Squeeze it hard. Open your hand. If it forms a ball and holds its shape, your soil has enough structure to work with a buried clay pot immediately. If it crumbles completely to dust, your soil is too sandy and will drain the pot faster than the roots can use it. You'll need to mix in compost before installing. If it stays a hard clump that won't crumble at all, you have heavy clay, and you'll need to mix in coarse sand or perlite first. That test just told you what your soil needs before you spend $1. Here's your first step. Go to any hardware store or garden center and buy 1 unglazed terracotta pot. 6 inches is enough to start, and a cork or a small tube of food-safe silicone. Seal the drainage hole. Let it cure overnight. That's it. That's the whole supply list. The question that follows from this is simple. If the pot controls the water, what exactly controls the pot? That soil test you just did, what it revealed goes deeper than texture. The University of Arizona Cooperative Extension measured water savings in 2021 and found that buried clay pot irrigation saves between 60 and 70% of water compared to conventional watering, not less frequent watering. 60 to 70% less total water. The same roots, the same yield, 1/3 of the water bill. That number comes from the same principle God described in 1 Kings 17:14. The jar of flour will not be used up, and the jug of oil will not run dry. The physical detail matters here. The jug doesn't empty, because the supply matches the need exactly. That's not poetry. That's a description of how an unglazed vessel manages its contents under demand. In 2013, researchers in Lake Bogoria, Kenya, compared buried clay pots to furrow irrigation, the standard field method, on plots of maize and tomatoes. The clay pot system used 97% less water, not 30%, not 60, 97. Maize yields per unit of water increased 32%, tomatoes 43%, the same land, the same sun, one jar. The Mennonite community around Goshen, Indiana, has used this principle continuously since the 1800s. Not the exact same pots, but the same logic. Water stored at root level, released on demand. Families there have gardened the same plots for 5 and 6 generations without soil degradation. The water never hit the surface long enough to evaporate. The roots never stretched upward looking for moisture. They grew down, dense and deep. Ecclesiastes 11:1 says, "Cast your bread upon the waters, for you will find it after many days." The agronomic reading is precise. What you put into the ground, entrusted to the earth's own systems, returns. The Kenyan study found it after many days in the form of yields that outperformed modern irrigation. The Mennonite families found it after many generations. Go to your garden and push your index finger straight down into the soil, as deep as it will go, all the way to the second knuckle. What do you feel at the tip? If it's cool and slightly moist, your roots are receiving water at depth. The soil is working. If it's dry and warm all the way down, water isn't reaching the root zone. Your surface watering is evaporating before it gets there. If you already have a buried pot in place and the soil is uniformly moist 6 inches in every direction, the system is running correctly. Your second step is installation. Dig a hole 10 inches deep. Place the sealed pot inside it, leaving 1 to 2 inches of the neck above the soil surface. Backfill gently around it. Fill the pot with water and set a flat stone or terracotta saucer over the opening. Plant your seedlings or seeds 6 to 12 inches from the neck in any direction. That radius is your active watering zone. One pot covers roughly a 2-foot circle. In heavy clay soil, lay a flat dish in the bottom of the hole before placing the pot. It spreads the water outward instead of letting it drain straight down. Leah is 71 years old and lives outside Middlebury, Indiana. Her pepper bed has 8 buried pots spaced evenly across a 4x8 frame. She fills them on Sunday morning. She doesn't touch that bed again until the following Sunday. Her pepper plants hit full production 3 weeks before her neighbor's drip-irrigated plants every single season. Her neighbor's system costs $80 to replace the tubing every 2 years. Leah's pots are 7 years old and intact. The drip irrigation industry was invented in 1959 at a kibbutz in Israel. The engineers who built it were solving a real problem, water scarcity in the Negev desert. But the solution they commercialized required pressure regulators, filters, emitters, tubing, and annual maintenance. It also replaced the clay pot system that had been doing the same job in that same region for 4,000 years. Without a parts list, without electricity, without a manual, drip line emitters clog with minerals. Tubing cracks under UV exposure after 2 to 3 seasons. Pressure drops unevenly across long runs, leaving plants at the far end underwatered. And the lines sit on the surface, which means the top 2 inches of soil stay wet while the root zone 6 inches down stays dry. Roots follow water. Shallow water produces shallow roots. If you've had your pot installed for 48 hours or more, do this now. Push a wooden chopstick or a thin dowel into the soil at 6 inches from the pot's neck. Pull it out. If the dowel comes out with soil clinging to it and feels cool to the touch, the moisture is moving correctly through the root zone. If the dowel comes out clean and dry, the pot may be glazed on the inside and not passing water. Return it and get unglazed terracotta only. You can test any pot before buying. Wet the outside wall and press your palm against it for 10 seconds. If your palm is damp when you lift it, the pot is porous and will work. Here's the full picture. You seal 1 drainage hole in an unglazed terracotta pot. You soak it in clean water for 30 minutes before burying it. This prevents the dry clay from absorbing all the water on the first fill instead of releasing it to the soil. You bury it 10 inches deep, neck above ground, stone on top. You plant around it at 6 to 12 inches. You fill it once, then you leave it. In the next 10 minutes, if you go seal that pot right now, it can be in the ground before dinner. Tomorrow morning, push your finger 6 inches into the soil beside it. You'll feel the difference. In 7 days, the surface around the pot will stay dry, meaning almost no evaporation is happening, while the roots are receiving constant, calibrated moisture. In 30 days, your plant's root systems will have oriented themselves toward the pot. If you dig a small test hole at the end of the season and pull the pot up, you'll see roots growing around it, hugging it. The plant found the water and built toward it. In a full season, most gardeners who switch report filling the pot 70% less often than they use their hose. 2 things that go wrong and what to do. If the pot drains completely in under 2 days, your soil is too sandy. Add 3 inches of mulch over the surface around the pot and mix compost into the surrounding soil before the next planting. That slows the draw to a sustainable rate. If the water level in the pot doesn't drop at all after 48 hours, the pot has a glaze. Tap the outside wall. Glazed terracotta sounds slightly higher pitched and feels smooth. Unglazed sounds duller and feels slightly rough like dried mud. Exchange it. And this is what I said at the beginning, what most gardeners have never tried after every harvest. When you pull your plants at season's end, leave the pot in place. Fill it one last time before the ground freezes, then empty it completely and pull it out for winter storage. That's it. The hole is already dug. The soil around it is already conditioned. Next spring, you drop it back in and plant again. The system is already built. I've put the complete clay pot irrigation protocol into a free guide at biblicalharvest.com. Every step, the scripture references, and the 5 most common problems. Link is in the description. The average American household spends $616 a year on garden products. Water bills for outdoor irrigation represent up to 30% of total residential water use. Half that water evaporates before it reaches a root. That's money paid for water that never arrived. A set of 4 terracotta pots costs under $50 total. They last 7 years minimum. The water they deliver goes directly to the roots. 0 evaporation from the delivery point. A 2013 study measured that system at 97% more efficient than field irrigation. The University of Arizona put it equal to or better than commercial drip systems, without the maintenance cost and without the annual tubing replacement. One of these systems was invented in 1959 and requires parts. The other was described in the oldest agricultural text ever written, confirmed in scripture, practiced by farming communities for 40 centuries, and costs $12. Bury the pot, plant around it, fill it once a week. That's the system. Not complicated, not expensive, not dependent on anything you have to buy again next spring. The soil stays moist at root level continuously. The surface stays dry, which means weeds stay down. Researchers in India found 87% fewer weeds in clay pot irrigated plots compared to surface irrigated ground. Fewer weeds, less water, higher yield. Those are the 3 things every gardener says they want. Proverbs 3:19 says, "By wisdom the Lord laid the earth's foundations. By understanding he set the heavens in place." The soil doesn't need to be improved with products. It needs to be understood. An unglazed clay pot works because it works with the pressure the soil creates naturally. The tension of dry earth pulling water through porous walls. That tension was built into the ground. The pot just answers it. In the next hour, do this one thing. Go to your local hardware store or garden center and find a terracotta pot, unglazed, any size between 5 and 8 inches. Check the wall by pressing a wet hand to it. Buy it if your hand comes away damp. Tonight, seal the drainage hole with a cork or silicone. Set it somewhere to dry. Tomorrow morning, soak it for 30 minutes and dig a 10-inch hole where your most water-stressed plant is. Drop the pot in. Fill it. Cover it. Your one goal this week: keep that pot filled and watch the soil around it. Just watch. And the one thing not to do right now: don't buy the most expensive pot in the store, assuming it works better. Glazed decorative terracotta doesn't pass water. The cheapest unglazed pot in the nursery section does exactly what a pot that cost 4,000 years of use and refinement should do. If this is the kind of proven system you've been looking for, subscribe to Biblical Harvest. Drop your age below if you've been gardening for over 10 years. I read every comment. Ruth in Shipshewana, 74 years old, 4 pots, 30 square feet, 340 pounds of tomatoes. You know exactly how she did it now. The ground already knows how to water itself. You just have to give it a vessel it can work with.